Luna Gans from Wave Corporation, part of the Maschinen Krieger franchise. Might have to add this to the collection. Hello, this is BJ from Hearns Hobbies, and today I'm going to be looking at one of my favorite genres of stuff. This is from the Maschinen Krieger range of kits. So this particular version is the Luna Gans. Now this is a reissue of a kit that was available some time ago. Now if you don't know about Maschinen Krieger, it's a universe that was created by the artist Kow Yokoyama in Japan. So it first came about in the 1980s. It was a series of, I guess, like photographic stories that were included in the Hobby Japan magazines back in the day. So it was partly, I guess, constructed with Hobby Japan and also Kow Yokoyama. The kits came out by NITTO initially. There was quite a variety of them, a lot of different style machines, and the basis of the shapes was quite often the parts were made up of existing parts, so they were kit bashed, in other words. And then it became so popular they actually made molds of the machines, and they sold all around the world. Now I started building one of these when I was a kid, loved them so much. I didn't have this particular Luna Gans, but I did have one of the AFSs, which is the armoured fighting suits. And then when I went around looking for them again, they were incredibly expensive because at that stage production had ceased and there were legal issues at stake, and then NITTO, they eventually started running out and the value kept on going up higher. The other interesting thing about these particular kits is each box has an original Kow Yokoyama artwork. So the Luna Gans that was released years ago would have had a different artwork and different decals in it. So with every iteration of the kit, there'll be something different about it, so that every single kit that comes out is a collectible on its own. Okay, so this is also going to be a collectible and probably go up in value as time goes by. Now you see originals by Kow Yokoyama, they're always licensed. You'll have the license sticker that you see right there. It's actually the profile of a SAFS, which is the most recognizable armored suit. And this particular one is quite interesting because this has components of the Neuspotter. So that's a Neuspotter head, which is a reconnaissance type head. So this is fully robotic, it's not manned at all. And then the bottom part is from the Krote, which is the walking component. And this is the Luna Gans, so the moon version. And what they've done is they've added all this propulsion at the back. Okay, so let's have a close look at the box. So as you can see, you've got this really nice box art, which is one of the things that collectors love about these kits. And they do keep the boxes after building the kit, or sometimes they don't build them at all. So they keep them as is, and they'll trade them as time goes by. And you still see some of these second-hand ones being traded, and they are quite expensive these days. Okay, standard scale is 1/20th. 1/20th was chosen basically because at the time when they were doing the figures, Tamiya Formula 1 was very popular, and their pit crew figures were the basis of the figures they made for this particular genre. So that's why the 1/20th. So if you think it's a bit odd, that's the reasoning behind it. Now as we look on the side, so you've got a bit of a description. So over here you've also got the World War II German sort of derivative of the name. So Panzerbar, and then 1124. So that's just all fictional, but it adds to the overall feel of this particular series. Same sort of thing there. What was I looking for? Oh yeah. So nice little box art, and then here you'll see a divisional marking, and every single box will have a different set of decals with a new divisional marking in them. Okay, so that's a box there. Now actually I wanted to show you the base of this because there's actually more pictures on the bottom. Okay, so the English is actually on the bottom, gives you a storyline of this particular machine, gives you some ideas of the painting schemes as well. But a lot of the fans have actually, they make up their own paint schemes, and they're always a very gritty World War II dark sort of finish. You've got some of the specifications, so speed, so you can go at 35 kilometers an hour, range. It's all really interesting. Okay, so apart from that, let's have a look at the actual kit itself. All right, so all these parts are quite old in that these are the original NITTO molds that have been refreshed by Wave. Okay, so let me put this aside and we'll look at each bag as we go. Okay, so we've got this little bag to start with. This has the joints in it and lenses. Okay, so here you've got the smoked lens for the very front of the Luna Gans head. You've got a lens here. And this is quite interesting because this is actually taken, the original, it was taken from a 6-scale Tamiya motorcycle kit for that lens. And then these are the joints, so you've got ball joints in this, and also you've got some poly caps as well. So these aid in the movement of the kit, because the kit is jointed, so you can change the pose to a degree. Okay, so these go back in here. Right, from there we get into some of the bigger stuff. All right, so we've got big moldings. All right, let's see, it's not all going to fit in the frame, so let's do one at a time. Okay, so these are classic Neuspotter head. Okay, so you've got the base here, top here, you've got the sensor and the light lens in there, some of the engine modules. And then you can see on the sprue it says Neuspotter. And then you can see there, original NITTO. I wonder if they have a year on that. Looks like it's been blanked off. Okay, so you've got that section there. And then we have this part here, which is part of the original Krote. Very recognizable by the feet. Okay, you've got the reversed ostrich looking sit, looks like a chicken. And then you have your leg struts, the larger upper thigh struts, shock absorbers. And then there's part of a lens, I think. So you will find that with a lot of these common components, so it's the legs that we're mainly interested in, you may get some extra parts, and quite often we'll put those parts in the spares box if we want to customize. And you can see they're marked as Krote on both of these, and they have the original NITTO markings as well. Okay, from there you got more Krote parts. So this is the, what do you call it? I guess you call this the abdomen part. This is where the legs are attached this way. So you've got the two halves. You have the engine here. So the engine itself, these, the original were taken from a 12-scale Tamiya motorcycle kit. And then you got parts of the leg here as well. So these are the caps that go over here, and then the legs actually hinge from there. You got these parts here, these cylinders, which are the, I think like fuel tanks. And then various other really tiny bits and pieces. Okay, that's an engine cover or a mount at the back. Okay, so from there we have this bag. Okay, so there's 3 sprues in here. Right, what do we got here? So we've got some armor. So this one's marked as the Gans. So the Gans actually had all this armor, which was over the knees and around, whereabouts are they? So they're the knee ones. And then these ones are around the, what do you call that? Around the thighs. Okay, so I have that. But then this part here, also marked as Gans, but Gans space type. So this is where the Luna Gans parts come in. These are the large rocket engines, which you see out the back. They're quite prominent. You've got these large side pods as well, which are like fuel tank looking things. Then other gas canisters as well. They're in halves. So you can see the multi-piece nature of these engines. They're quite big. I really like these. They're huge. Okay, and so from there we have this part here. Okay, so this is like the, I guess the sort of, around the engine component. So you've got the head that sort of spins on this point. There's the sort of cover, that's a very World War II, the slit type headlight cover. Got the headlight there, and then the lens obviously goes inside that part. And that sits at the front of the walker. Then you have some more engine components. And then this is a part where you can do a lot of customization. You see a lot of different size nuts and nut heads or bolt heads molded there. So it's up to you to cut them off and then glue them wherever you like. And that one's marked as a Gans space type. And this one's actually marked Wave Corporation. So this was updated by Wave in 2012. Okay. Right, from there we've got this packet here. Right, so this is part of the multimedia parts. So multimedia basically means it's got more than one type of material being used. So usually a plastic kit, we just say it's a plastic kit because it's all plastic, but this is multimedia because it uses plastic and metal. So as you can see, you've got the brass rods here, various thicknesses. Might be a bit hard to see, they're actually quite thin. And then we've got some vinyl tubing as well for some of the plumbing. And then we've got springs and some strings. Okay, so the strings there are, sorry, the fine springs here are used for, I guess they're like big pneumatic hoses. And then the springs are used over the shocks as an option. All right, so they're all the parts. Let me just quickly pop these all back together here before we lose any bits. Now all this fine brass rod and such are used for handles, like grip handles along the side. Oh, I missed a bit here. That was really thin. All right, so from there we have the manual, and there's also a card. So this is one of those cards which it's got punch holes here, so it can be put in your collection of, or a little binder of all the cards from all the different kits. And this is the information regarding each sort of model. So you've got some history here with this particular division marking. So you've got 3 new division markings and then 3 new camouflage combinations. Then on the back here, there's a little description of all the individual parts and where the decals go. So that's really nice. Okay, so that there. And then of course with that comes the brand new decal sheet. So that's one of those new things as well. So with a new release, you'll always get new box art and then a new decal sheet as well. And you can see here's Kow Yokoyama 2021. So there's the new divisions there. You see them there. And that's a pretty standard skull and crossbone Totenkopf one in the white there. Very World War II SS. Really fine technical stencils. And then a variety of numbers, so you can choose what you like. Okay, so from there, let's have a look at the manual. All right, so the manual is going to be very old school. Okay, as you can see, very simple line drawings. So we start building the head. So that's the head of the Neuspotter. And then you've got the base for the head. You've got the cylinders here, goes into building the rocket engines. Rocket engines onto the propulsion system. And then we've got parts of, I guess that's the abdomen type part where the legs are hanging off. Flip it over. And then we've got the engine that goes into place. Got the legs, you can see the multiple pieces of the legs. This is where you use the new parts for making up the shock with the spring. And then we have the head going onto, I guess the propulsion unit, then that goes onto the abdomen with the legs on it. And that's it. So they're generally a fairly straightforward build. Most of the fun is in the finishing, the weathering, and the painting. So there you go. So that is the Luna Gans from Wave Corporation, part of the Maschinen Krieger franchise, or Ma.K as is otherwise known. And it's a brand new kit, so brand new release I should say. And very nice indeed. So the walkers are one of my favorites. I've got the Kuster at home, which is a derivative of the Krote family, and I've got a few other suits as well. So I don't know, I'll think about it. I might have to add this to the collection. So thank you for watching.